Let's discuss how narcissistic parents break each and every one of the 10 commandments. Let's go ahead and discuss the 10 commandments and discuss how narcissistic parents are operating in the opposite way of the commandments, basically going against each of the commandments. Let's start with number one: to not have other gods before the Most High God. But one thing that narcissistic parents do, is they look at themselves as a God that can rule over people and be a God in other people's lives in a negative way. And they view their spouses as gods in their lives, a God that they have to worship, all in a negative way. Let's explain that a little deeper. What narcissistic parents do is they look at themselves as this God over other people's lives, that they get to be in complete control over their spouse's life or over their children's lives, and that the children must obey their every will and command, their every need and want, and that the child must be subservient to the parent in complete control and totality. That's how they view their role as a parent, in order to be completely in control of another person. They don't parent as a way to build a bond and teach their child, guide their child, raise their child, love their child. No, they don't want to love their child or raise their child, help their child grow, help their child develop, guide their child. All they want to do is control their child. They want to be in complete control of another human being. Why? Because they do not have control over themselves. They don't have control over their own life. So they think, let me gain control by controlling someone else. They even try to do this with their spouses. They may be a bit trapped in doing that because the other parent won't allow themselves to be controlled by another human being, by another adult. The only way that one can truly hold a lot of control over another is for one to be completely financially dependent on the other. And the one that is financially independent is the one that would have full control over the spouse that is completely financially dependent on them. Financial abuse, financial control, to hold control over someone else, seeing themselves as a god in someone else's life and operating in that way in their life, but not in a good way, but in a bad way, in a way to control, in a way to manipulate, in a way to abuse. Number two, no idols. But one thing that narcissistic parents do is they idolize other people. They idolize their spouse. They idolize their favorite child. And even having a favorite child that they treat better than the other, and they don't behave righteously in the way that they treat their children, is completely idolatry. They look at their favorite child, or they look at their spouse as someone that can do no wrong. They are without error. So they are above correction. They idolize these people in their lives because they want these people in their lives. They want these people to be close to them so that they can feel like they have someone special in their lives, because they don't know how to form genuine, deep bonds with people. They only know how to people please their way through their relationships. That is why they idolize their spouse, to keep their spouse in their lives. because it's only convenient for them and beneficial for them. Or they idolize their child to feel like they have a sense of belonging, or they are parentifying their child, making their child be the one to give them that emotional support instead of it being the other way around. They people please their way through the relationship to get their needs met, idolizing another person, going against the commandment of having no idols. Number 3, they misuse the name of God. These are the types of people that say they believe in God, they go to church every Sunday, but yet they behave completely different every other day of the week. And once they get out of their church service, they are back to their regular self of being difficult, being mean, being nasty, being vile, being evil to people. They claim to love God, but they operate in evil. They claim to serve God, but they serve the enemy. They serve the enemy while claiming to serve God, because you can only serve the enemy if you are willing to be evil to people. If you're willing to be evil, willing to commit evil acts, you cannot serve the God and say you do, because you do not. Because God would keep you from doing certain things. That is why they misuse the name of God, claiming to be for God, claiming to love God, going to church every Sunday, trying to cosplay as this religious person when they're not. When they're not. They aren't, because they don't behave like one. They don't operate like one. They don't act in ways. They don't act in their daily life. They are not the type of person that is a true man or woman of God. They don't even behave in that way. Going against the third commandment, misusing the name of God, claiming to be for God, but serving the enemy, clearly through their actions. Number 4, honor thy mother and thy father. They make that statement, they make that law difficult. They make that law difficult to follow. Why? Because they constantly provoke their children to wrath. They make it harder to honor the parents when they behave in ways that are dishonorable. Honor thy mother and thy father is not a free pass to treat your children. However, honor thy mother and thy father is to receive the honor that you have rightfully earned, not what you're entitled to. That's what it is. They are entitled to all of this honor that they have not earned. They feel entitled to it just because they are the parents. However, if they behave in honorable ways, they would receive that honor. No hands up about it. These parents want to behave in dishonorable ways by mistreating their children, by upsetting their children intentionally, by provoking their children to wrath, by traumatizing their children and not wanting to be held accountable for the trauma that they have inflicted upon their child. And they want to claim themselves as a good parent, but their children are broken, and they refuse to see their child's brokenness, and they refuse to see the role that they played and a hand that they played in their child's brokenness. So how can you honor your mother and thy father when they behaved in dishonorable ways and they broke you completely? How can you honor a parent that broke you? How can you honor a parent that hates you? They want to hate their children, but want to receive honor in return. That's not how life works. That's not how it works. That's not the righteous way. You have to give the love to receive the love. You have to give the honor to receive the honor. Great loving parents honor their children. They honor their children, and they receive that honor in return. Number 5. Now, this one's going to have to get a little deep. This may not resonate for every single person, but this resonates for some. Number 5, thou shalt not kill. Some narcissistic parents wanted to off their own children. They wanted to sacrifice their own children. They wanted to get rid of their own children. They wanted their children to be off this planet. They wanted to try to either do it themselves or order another person to do it for them. Trying to offer hitmen money to do it for them. Going and consulting practitioners. Trying to put spell work, rituals on a person to get them to be off of this planet, but none of that will work. None of that is allowed to work. Some parents have even gone completely all the way, or they have actually found a way to completely take their child off of this planet, and they had a single hand in doing so, but they just got away with it. How to get away with murder. There are some narcissistic parents out there that truly got away with murder of their own child. It may not resonate for every single person, but that's the type of evil that they have, where they would even take out their own child. Next, no adultery. One thing that narcissistic people can do within a marriage is commit adultery against each other, have the infidelity within their marriage, and continue to stay with each other despite the infidelity, despite the adultery. Because they want the title of being married, but they don't want the challenge of marriage. They don't want to put in the work to earn the covenant of marriage. They just want the marriage for the title, not for the experience. Number 7, do not steal. One thing that narcissistic parents can do is they can try to or attempt or take things from their children, including money, especially money. You see this a lot when a child gets birthday money. The parent will see the child's birthday money and will tell the child, let me hold on to your money. Then they'll count up the money. They'll take out a chunk for themselves and give the child the rest of their birthday money, knowing that they just stole money from their own child, from their own offspring. Just stole their birthday money from them. Knowing that they didn't need it, but took it anyway out of pure selfishness, greed, and gluttony, and was too prideful to even admit it. 4 of the 7 deadly sins. Or 5, wrath, being so hateful towards their child that they would be willing to take something away from them. This also looks like when a child is a teenager and they work a job and the parent wants to take their earnings, take their income, take their paycheck, and force the child to pay bills in the house, forcing the child to be financially independent, or the parent is financially dependent on their teenage child. Completely idiotic, vile, evil, cruel, cold hearted, and wrong. And slothful. It's laziness. laziness of the parent not wanting to step up and do what they need to do. So they rely on the child to take care of their priorities. It is not the child's responsibility to take upon the parent's priorities. Next, keep the Sabbath day sacred. Be good on the Sabbath day. Be good to each other. Be good in spirit. Be good in your nature. Be good in your heart. Be good in your mind. The thoughts you think, the words that you say. But a lot of times, these narcissistic people, they can't even stop that on a Sunday. They want to continue to be mean and nasty and vile every single day of the week, before church and even after church, behaving in such nasty, cruel, wicked ways just because they feel like they can, going against that commandment of keeping that day sacred. They're tainting that day. Number 9, do not bear false witness, meaning no lying on people, no lying on someone else. But that is definitely something that they like to do. They love to lie on people. They love to bear false witness against their neighbor. They love to make up false accusations and false claims and claim that on someone. They love to project all of these lies onto another person, especially onto their children, especially onto their scapegoated children. They make up all these insane lies about the child that are completely idiotic and completely separate from the truth. But yet they make up these insane lies to make the child look bad, to sabotage the child. Or they'll make up insane lies about the spouse to make the spouse look bad. Telling this to other family members to get other people or other friends, loved ones, relatives to turn against the spouse so that they can have a gang of people to group up against the spouse. For when the spouses get into it, one of them has an army backing them up, all based on lies. Or scapegoating a child, sabotaging their reputation by making up insane lies about things that they haven't even done, haven't even said, they didn't even experience, but making up the insane lies to get people to look at that person, that child, in such a negative way, to hate the child without even giving the child a chance. Narcissistic parents are the ones that will gossip about their own children and lie on their own children, the children that they birthed, their offspring, thinking that it is okay to do so. Going against the 10 Commandments. How can a child honor their parent when that's what they're doing behind their back? Lastly, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's goods. You are not to take anything from anyone that does not belong to you. Many narcissistic parents will try to take something from their child that doesn't even belong to them, not allowing the child to have their own thing, not respecting their child, not respecting their child's boundaries, not respecting their child's autonomy, not even allowing the child to be autonomous. What's yours is mine, what's mine is mine, and especially what's yours is mine. Not allowing their child to have their own things, the parent feeling entitled to everything, the entitlement, the pride. The entitlement comes from their pride, feeling too prideful to ask for things and feeling so full of pride that they feel like they don't have to ask. They are just owed everything because they are a parent. They're just someone that had a child. You have to earn the title of being a parent. Anyone can have a child, but you earn the title of being a parent. parents need to get it together. Ashe.